do you think the world looks like if it's a Liberal majority and or a PC majority?
Well, in Canada, there's not a profound difference between the two parties, to be truthful. In the United States, there's a dramatic cleavage between the two parties. But I think with the Liberals, it'll be business as usual, the pandemic management. I think they'll continue to spend money at a considerable rate. They'll be very anxious to start introducing national childcare. So you'll see those changes. I worry about trying to deal with the cost of this through taxation. I think that would be a mistake at a time when we need growth. And I hope they don't go that route. In the case of the Conservatives, I think they'll stay tucked somewhat towards the middle and run a pretty populist government. All of the rhetoric now is around populism. I think they'll probably be quicker to put a focus on the economy and probably be quicker to ask the private sector to share in the economic recovery and, in fact, lead it, which is what one would hope in the country. But I don't think there's going to be a profound difference. You've got a Conservative leader saying that to balance the budget would take about 10 years. So that doesn't indicate there's any urgency or that we're in for a draconian cuts of any kind.
And when we think about growth as well, and we think about what's going on in global growth right now, we're seeing a slowdown in China. We're also, of course, seeing China say that they are welcoming, working friendly with the Taliban. I'm asking you, I suppose, what Canada's role is in from a foreign policy perspective in this, particularly since the economy is questionable right now.
Yeah, well, I'd have to say this because Afghanistan is looming large. Canada did not participate in Iraq, and we were right. We did go to Afghanistan, and I think we were right in that. It was a coalition of nations in the aftermath of 9/11. I was part of that decision-making as ambassador in Washington, and I can tell you our decision to participate, especially in the heavy fighting around Kandahar, was extremely welcome by the United States of America. But having said that, Kathleen, there is no easy way to extricate oneself from a foreign country. And that, which is why we should invade countries extraordinarily rarely. Iraq just being a classic case of a disaster for all kinds of reasons. It set the Kurds against the Sunnis and the Shiites, and it took away the natural enemy of Iran, allowed Iran to raise hell in the Middle East. Vietnam was a debacle when the United States tried to get out as well. So this is very messy. I just feel extraordinary sadness for the innocent people who are caught up in this, but I don't think this is going to be a major issue in the election campaign in Canada. I think China will be a bit of an issue because of our concern for the two Michaels. But generally speaking, foreign policy doesn't tend to dominate domestic politics.
I have to ask, because it seems though inflation doesn't dominate, the economy doesn't dominate, foreign policy doesn't dominate, yet these are all the things that we want leadership and governments to protect us for and from. That's their role, that's their job. What does matter then? People have to understand that this stuff should matter.
Yeah, all of it matters and all of it will be spoken about, but right now we're trying to survive a pandemic that seems to be going into a fourth wave, and we don't know vaccine passports, mandatory vaccination. Those are looming issues. My sense is that the public are getting really sick and tired of this, the cost in treasury and human lives. And I find that people are becoming increasingly strident in their views about this and want very aggressive management of it. And it may be that whoever seizes the mantle on that, the most aggressive managers of the pandemic response may be successful.
Frank, I only have about 45 seconds left, but I want to ask you, my program's called The Buck Stops Here. What's your Buck Stops Here moment? What do you say to our viewers?
Well, very simply, I think as a country, we need to pivot. We've lived in this day-to-day management. We need to pivot towards a stronger future. We have to outgrow our debt. We can't just pay it off. And that means that we need to do some things that we should be doing. We should dismantle interprovincial trade barriers. We should maximize our economic rents from our natural resources. All of those things are profoundly important if we're going to get this country back on track.